अथा अभिनव वाग्य विलासनी जय चातुर्यार्थ कला कामिनी ते शारदा विश्वमोहिनी नमस्कारिली म्या. First of all, I pray the goddesses of knowledge, the goddesses of tongue, and the goddesses of wisdom, Ma Saraswati. Good morning, friends, and from the bottom of the heart, I welcome one and all of you, one and all. Friends, today we are going to learn, we are going to think, and we are going to understand the famous Indian writers Rabindranath Tagore's poem Live the Chanting and Singing and Telling of Beads. Before going to start the poems, we must be thinks that Rabindranath Tagore is not atheist. He believes in God, he believes in nature. But here the poem is that live the chanting and singing and telling of beads. It may be a religious poem, but first of all we must understand, we must learn, we must know what is meant by the religions. How do we define the religions? Friends, religion is nothing but to learn and understand one's duty to ourselves, families, society, nations, as well as welfare of the humankind. Religion teaches us that world is a family and how to live amicably, satisfactorily, peacefully, and as a brotherhood. And all religions are the pures and they are the truth. Friends, I started pondering deeply upon the true essence and philosophy of not just the Hindu religion, but about all the other major religions of the world, like Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Jainism, Judaism, Sikhism, Zoroastrianism, Shintoism, Taoism, etc. I realized that religion is a way of life based on time-tested values, and that all the religions are pious in nature and preach the same basic philosophy and convey the same message of love, ethics, morality, respect for others, sacrifice, reverence, and compassion to lead a happy, contented, and peaceful life for the establishment of holistic society. So that is the definition of the religions. All religions are true. And when we think about the Tagores, first of all, I will talk a little bit about the Tagores, then we will see the short introductions about the Tagores and about the brief short introduction about the poems, and then we are going to things and we are going to read and I am going to explain detail the poems line by lines. Tagore's insurgent humanism asserts itself against all religious orthodoxy. Now, the first of all, the one point or one note is that Tagore just mentioned that Tagore is not atheist, and he wrote, he focused, he highlighted that those against those peoples, and we found we in day-to-day lives we come to know from the medias and all that these types of the peoples are everywhere in every religion. It may be Hindu, it may be Muslim, it may be Christianity. Everywhere in the world we found hypocrites, duplicate sages and monks and all that, sadhus and all that, who exploit the peoples, who earn the money, who are totally after the worldly pleasures. This in the names of and wearing that sadhus and all popes and that dress and all that. They exploiting the peoples. They are making false duplicates. So Tagore's commented on that. And for this, he wrote the poems. First understand. So Tagore's insurgent humanism asserts itself against all religious orthodoxy. He maintains that the infinite is always manifesting self through the finite, and the relation between the two is one of love and unity. And all these ideas which we find in Tagore's poetry are aligned to Christian thought and do not find a place in the pages of the English Bible. Social and religious criticism, such as we find in the medieval poets of India, uh, the man of prayers can be angry. And this Tagore moved from the love of nature and of God to a spiritual realism and international humanism. Tagore's realism is free from crude materialism. Understand? Tagore's realism is free from crude materialism. His mysticism is free from the false spirituality of escapism, and his humanism is free from the narrow bonds of nationalisms. Okay, now I introduce about the writers briefly. Who was Rabindranath Tagore? He was a famous Bengali polymath who was also a poet, artist, and a musician. Gurudev Rabindranath Tagore. He is received in Bengali literatures and music. He was born on 7th May 1861 in Suransco Mansion in Calcutta. His family, Rabindranath Tagore's, the fathers of Rabindranath Tagore is Devendranath Tagore's mother Sarda Devi, wife Mrinalini Devi, Mrinalini Devi. He was a Brahmins. He belongs from the Brahmins family. He had a nickname Ravi, which belongs from the Bengali. Tagore wrote his first poem when he was only 8 years old. So he belonged from not only the Brahmins family but educated family. He got married on 9 December 1883 at the age of 22. He was a poet, novelist, theorist, poetess, composer, and a true Indian. He was the non-European to win Nobel Prize in Literature in 1930 for Gitanjali. So he is the first Asian who won the Nobel Prize, or to win the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1913 for Gitanjali. He wrote around 2,230 songs and 2,580 paintings and drawings. And one important thing is that Tagore wrote the national anthem for India, Janagana Mana Adinayaka Jai Bharat Bhagya Vidada, and also for Bangladeshis Amar Sonar Bangla. So that's important things. It goes into credit of Tagore. And Rabindranath Tagore died at the age of 80 on 7th August 1941 in Samson Zarensko Mansions, where he was raised and born. About the poems, extract. These present poems leave this chanting and singing and telling of beats. It is extract from Gitanjali, and Gitanjali was published in November 1912. And Gitanjali is a collection of 103 English poems. This is also called Bhakti songs. And leave the chanting and singing of telling this is the 11th poem of Gitanjali. And it glorifies the life of the humble laborers. It has a universal appeal. So one thing is, we must know that the backgrounds are about the Rabindranath Tagore. There are two types of the poets, some born poet and the made poets. He's both. He's belongs to around both category. But thing is that his elder brother Sachindranath Tagore was an IPS officer in Pune. In I think I mean not exactly recalling that year, but it may be around 1832 as IPS officer in Pune in Maharashtra. And Rabindranath Tagore came here, occasionally visit his elder brothers, and when he in sometimes when he was in Pune, then he came across the Maharashtrian Warkari Sampradaya's traditions, and then he come out through the gathas, across of all the gatha, he read the gathas in details, and then he impressed by Sant Jagadguru Sant Tukaram's gatha. He went to the Devhus, visited that Bhandara Hills and Bhamachandra Hills, wandered here and there. They spent 1 2 days there and got inspiration from Sant Tukarama. And now he decided that, oh, I can also compose such types of the bhakti songs. And then he wrote a Gitanjali. So first things we must be understand. We must be understand that he is influenced by Sant Tukaram Maharaj. So, because such types of the abhangas, the sant, all the sant as reformers, we find in these gathas and abhangas and all that. Okay. So, what is about this poem? This about the poems. In lieu of chanting and singing, Tagore urges the pious to step out of the confines to conventional ways of praying and look for God among people who toils. According to Tagore, one cannot find God in chanting and singing but only in hard works. I mean, he suggests, he guides to follow Karma Yoga. Tagore was famous for his pantheism. He believed that nature and the entire universe is the reflection of the Supreme Being, a God. In his view, God could not exist inside a temple made of stone. This poem reflects his beliefs. Yes. And now we will see actually poems. Line by lines, I read and try to explain it as my way. The friends, first line, live the chanting and singing and telling of beads. Whom does the worship in this lonely dark corner of a temple? With doors all shut, open thine eyes and see that God is not before thee. He says to Pandit and all that persons, live the chanting and singing and telling of beads. Beads means telling of beads, chanting with the assistance of holy beads, of use of prayer to the gods, a popular practice, and especially in Hinduism, it's called bead, the mantras. So he this, leave the chanting and singing and telling of beads. Whom dost the worship in this lonely dark corner of a temple? Whom dost means does, though means this is the ancient words. You, whom does you worship in this lonely dark corner of a temple with doors all shut? Open thine eyes. Thine means yours, and see thy. Thy means yours. Thine means yours, and thy means your. That God is not before thee. Yeah, he suggests and he says that, oh, persons, oh, hypocrite, come out of that, leave the chanting and singing of beads, and see your God is not in front of you. Why did you spending the times in sitting one corner and meditating and chanting of all that tales and the beads, telling the beads and the mantras? Then in next stanza he explained, where is God? He is there where the tilling is tilling the hard ground and where the path maker is breaking stones. He is with them in sun and shower, and his garment, means God's garment, is covered with dust. Put up thy, means your hold on the dusty soil. Means he's repeatedly saying that God is not in the temples. God is in the duty. God is in karma. When the students study, students God is in their karma. Teachers God is their the teachings. Every verse, every field and every sections of the society, God is in their karma. If you follow, if I do truly, if I do from the heart, and there is compassion and the love behind my teachings, then my God is in my teachings. You studies, okay. Husbands gods, families gods, with living amicably, with truthfully. There is God. Every businessman, every politician, every theorist, every philosopher, their God is their karma. So we must be realized God, experience within our own karma. Should not be go away from and should not be leave this world and wander here and there, living out of tracks. So that important philosophy has been taught by the Rabindranath Tagore. That's why he say he is there where the tearing is tilling the hard ground. He gives an example where the pathmaker is breaking stones. He is with them in sun and shower, and his garment is covered with dust. Put up thy holy on the dusty soil. Now, Tagore suggests priests to give up singing and chanting and meditation, flowers and incense. He asserts that path of God realization lies through the performance of ordinary duties in life. Understand? We must come down from the high secluded place and meet God in the company of the tiller and the pathmaker. This is stern realism. Very absolutely right. Oh, absolutely right. Otherwise, we see that all that duplicate persons and the hypocritic of all Babaj and sadhus and the monks and that all that they exploit the common peoples and the laborers, and that uneducated people. Also in the educated people they exploit and make the monies and run their business. Then in the next lines he suggests deliverance. Where is the deliverance to be found? Very important. Very important. Deliverance. Deliverance means moksha. Because why does the peoples, or why do the peoples go to the temples and spend hours and hours to chanting and meditations? Because they wanted to escape from that uh, that's all the works from day-to-day lives. But he suggests deliverance. Where is the deliverance to be found? Of creation, he is bound with us all forever. Come out of thy meditation and leave aside thy flower and incense. And now in this stanza, in this line, where is the deliverance to be found? Oh, where you are going to search and found the moksha? And his in the next line, it's very important. Our masters, masters means our God, Father of the world, himself has joyfully taken upon him the bonds of creations. According to Hindu mythology, there are the gods. God is playing the different parts. The Brahma, Vishnu, and the Mahesh. Brahma is the creators, Vishnu preserver, and the Mahesh destroyers. So the three gods, means gods, has taken his duty joyfully upon creations, and he is bound with us all forever in his bond. Continuously he is performing his duty. Then why we wanted to escape, and why we are after the mokshas and all finding the deliverance? So, and then he say, means he sees truth in nature. See, according to the Rabindranath Tagore, life is a battle, a journey and search, and as a progressive sacrifice. Such is the dynamic of spiritual struggle and realizations. He gives the real meaning of the life. He sees truth in nature. Everything in nature is truth for him. He rejects the view that man can get salvation by renouncing this world. An intense love of the earth and of human joys and sorrows are the most silent feature of his writing. The spirit of man resides in the physical organism, which is a part of nature. Tagore thinks that fulfillment of these earthly pleasures. Yes, If our earth's pleasure is not good, earth's status is not good, then we can't achieve the paraloka and all that moksha and the liberation. So fulfillment of this earthly pleasure is also necessary. Man can find paradise here on earth. Vaikuntha and the paradise we must be seen. Man can be found here on earth, and he must be found. There is no need to renounce the world, but to see paradise by bringing oneness with natures and with God. That is important. There is no need to renounce the world, but to see paradise by bringing oneness with natures and with God. Natures and God. Tagore says, I believe that the vision of paradise is to be seen in the sunlight and in the green of the earth, in the beauty of the human face and the wealth of human life. And he knows that none can achieve the spiritual without the temporals. Man's knowledge does not end with biological necessity of life, but it also concerns itself with love, emotions, and the passions is necessary for the survival of humanity. Tagore rejected the puritanical attitude of life and ridiculed those who see moksha, liberation of the soul by subjugations of their desires. Tagore suggests that salvation lies not in the renunciation of the world, but in love and survival of humanity. That's why he says, put out thy holy mantle, and even like him come down on the dusty soil. Come out of thy meditations and leave aside thy flowers and incense. What harm is there if thy clothes become tatters and stained? What harm is there if thy clothes tatters? Tatters mean old and torn. What harm is there if thy clothes become tattered and stained? Meet him and stand by him in toil and sweat of thy brow. Toil means work, extremely hard work, and brow means here forehead. So he suggests, come out of thy meditations, leave that meditations. Why are you spending times and all that and making false and exploiting the peoples and also making the monies? What harm is there if thy clothes become tattered? Means when we read these lines, we come to know that this philosophy has been taught by the Maharashtrian Sant Tukarama, Sant Ekanath, Sant Namdev. They not only the told, the preach, but they practice and they preach. Because when we talk about the santas and the common man, there is a difference. Santa defines, we are the dwellers in Vaikuntha. I have come for this reason to live with truly devotions. What the Rishis have said, that is different. And in the next, I will also going to give two examples of the Maharashtrians, Sant Ekanath, how they find the gods in everywhere, in the natures, in the animals, in the waters, in the hillside, everywhere. So he says, come out of thy meditation and leave aside thy flowers and incense. What harm is there if thy clothes become tattered and stained? Meet him and sit by him in toil and in sweat of thy brows. Very important. And there is also those the above poems, poet says that God is not in the temple, but he is among the common men who are poorest and lowest. Okay. But he should be remove our pride, ego and anger and try to find him in the company of the lonely people. And also we find such another example of that the poet therefore warns his countrymen to beware of dangers of imitation of the foreign ideal. He advises them not to be ashamed of poverty but have full faith in the dignity of simple life. Okay. And Tagore is a realist who does not indulge in the vague idealism and would not pray for the something which is impossible to attainment in real lives. And according to him, the life which is full of greed, pride, cruelty, self-seeking, and full of false ambition is a sort of spiritual sleep. The life which is full of greed, pride, cruelty. Understand? These are the virtues which is explained by the Tagores. Self-seeking means not attached to our own body, but compassion towards of all creatures. and full of false ambitions, is a sort of spiritual sleep. Spiritual sleep. And sexual passion is selfish and destructive, but when controlled by the ideal of love, it becomes a symbol of man's spiritual affinity with the infinite. Thus, Tagore's humanism is based upon a deep devotion to human interest, irrespective of caste or creed, and covers every aspect of the human lives. And through this way, he teaches us how to live in day-to-day lives. And also, he wants that, and it's insurgent humanism. So we come to know these poems, live the chanting and singing of Deleuze. Very realistic poems. Now I give you two examples of the Maharashtrian Sant. Means which the message already has given by Tagore's, that we must be realize the God's experience in our duty, and as well as we must be see the God everywhere. The first examples in that Santa Ekanata, how he find the gods in animals. What happens? Once upon a time, a group of sons were carrying the pious water of the rivers Ganga from Prayag in North India. This is story means the upon times he was carrying a pious water of river Ganga. Ganga is in Hindu mythology. Ganga is the very purest river for each and every human beings, and from Prayag in North India to offer Lord Shiva at Rameshwaram. I mean, when we see about the Prayag is situated in UP, and Rameshwaram is the in the south side of India. In the south, it was a long and arduous journey. Sant Ekanatha was with them. He was with them. When they were crossing a vast desert, they saw a donkey dying of thirst. Sant Ekanath immediately offered his water to the donkey and saved his life. He saw God in there. The other sons in the group were furious and considered it as an insult to the Lord Shiva, since the water meant for offering to the god had been wasted on a donkey. Sant Ekanatha explained his act very calmly, very cool. O wise men, O priest, you have read again and again in the holy books that God is everywhere. Then why are you so upset? Anything that is not utilized at the right moment is useless. The water that this dying donkey and think that is okay, I repeat. O wise man, you have read again and again in the holy books that God is everywhere. Then why are you so upset and think that is not utilized at the right moment is useless? The water that this dying donkey drank has reached. Oh, he explained. The water that this dying donkey drank has restrained to the Lord Shiva in the Rameshwarams. Means to this story and example, we realized and we come to know that he found the gods in a donkey, in thirsty donkey. So instead of offering and inviting the rich peoples and the that duplicates babas and all that pops, we must be help to the poor and the animals and all thirsty and all that, because God is theirs. Understand? And then a second example, Sant Namadeva offering ghee to the hungry dogs. I explain within 2 minutes and then I conclude. The Sant Namadeva, the great devotee of Lord Vithala, Namadeva used to go to a nearby village, Gopalpur, to paint his emotional field, divine abhangas on Lord Vithala, Lord without any disturbance. Okay, means every day goes to the Gopalpurs, meditate and writes abhangas. One day it was getting delayed and he did not turn home for lunch. Namadeva's wife, who was concerned for the delay, walked along with the lunch to Gopalpur. she requested her husband, Namadeva, that he should have his lunch as it was getting late, but Namadeva was in a different mode completely. His thoughts were filled with the Lord Vitthala. He advised her to leave the lunch in the basket and carry on with her daily works. Rajai, his wife's name, with respect kept Namadeva's lunch in a bag near him and left the place. The dog quickly got hold of the chapatis in the lunch. Chapatis means roti. In the lunch bag and ran away with the foods. Namadeva, who was filled with thoughts of Lord Vitthala, washed the animals. He immediately took some ghee and sugar along with milk, got up and ran behind the dog. Oh, this surprised the passers-by. Jai Namadeva. The dog unexpected this and hence ran as fast as it could. And finally, with the saying Vittala Vittala, he succeeded in tapping the dog near a bush with cautions. He offered obeisance to the Lord he saw in the animals. He fondly took him on his lap and attempted to feed him with sugar and ghee and later some milk. He brushed him with affection and said, Panduranga, oh Panduranga, my lord, this raw chapati will make your throat dry. Please have a ghee, sugar and milk along with this. Saying this, he opened the animal's mouth to feed him. That very instant, a wonderful thing happened. He could have darshan of Lord Panduranga there itself. Means he searched, he found the gods in animal. So both example of the Santa Ekanatha and Santa Namadeva teaches us that we also realize the gods in the everywhere else, in the animals, in natures. Lastly, I conclude. The Tagore's poem Live the Chanting tries to expose the false religiousness of the worshippers everywhere throughout the world, the false worshippers. And because this is the things, when we read the biography and the not biography of all the Indian sons, especially, and also world's thinkers and the philosophers and the writers, they are not after that all that in the duplicateness and hypocrisy. They saw or they search their gods within their own karma. So that is very important things. Okay, through this now I concludes this today's lectures on Rabindranath Tagore's Live the Chanting and Singing telling of beats to giving the message of that Atharva Veda. The message is, we are the birds of the same nest. We may wear different skin, we may speak in different tongues, we may believe in different religions, yet we share the same home, earth, born on the same planet, covered by the same skies, gazing at the same star. Therefore, we must be learned to progress together or miserably perish together. We are the birds of the same nest. A person can live individually, but can only survive collectively. We are the birds of the same nest. We are the birds of the same nest. Thank you very much. If you like my channels, like it, subscribe it and comment it. Thank you.